If you have ever made a logical decision that made you miserable afterwards, or you followed your heart and paid the price later in life, this session is for you. So the problem is not that you're listening to the wrong one. The problem is that nobody has ever taught us how to make them work together, make the heart and the mind work together. Until you understand this, you will keep oscillating between success without joy. The internal dissonance will never allow you to live at peace. You'll never feel, joy without having stability. So stay with me, because this is the difference between a life that feels heavy and a life that feels aligned. So before we talk about the heart and the mind, let me ask you something very, very important. How many of your decisions are you making from calm, and how many are you making from pressure? So let's find out some reality about the nervous system. Sit comfortably, feet grounded on the ground, spine relaxed. Breathe in and out slowly once, and then say to yourself, nothing is wrong with me. Why should you say that? Because a system that feels wrong will always make choices from fear. So here's a lie that we've all been sold. And many of us believe heart and mind are enemies. Now this belief, which has got planted, destroys many relationships, burns out a lot of leaders, and makes people sick, even though they might be successful. Yesterday I was reading about some very young fellow, very successful fellow, very fit. He had a ECG 2 days before, it was all fine, and he just dropped dead. And the funny thing is, he's himself a doctor. Now, the heart and the mind were never designed to compete with each other. They have different jobs. That's it. The heart has a job, the mind has a job. Now, the moment each one starts trying to do the other person's job, your life becomes very, very exhausting. The mind should do its job, the heart should do its job. So, is this mind obviously a very useful part of us? Is it a genius or is it a tyrant? So let me tell you something very, very bold. Your mind is not your enemy, but it becomes dangerous when it is frightened, scared, Now, what is the real job of the mind? The real job of the mind is to predict, it is to protect, it is to optimize, it is to prevent pain from taking place. So when the mind is in charge of directing you, it will ask things like, what if this fails? It will say, what will people think? How do I control the outcome? That is the job of the mind, and it does that. But a fearful mind does not choose the best future. It chooses the safest past, which it tries to recreate in the future. And then what happens? Ease disappears, health declines, success feels like a burden. Now, let's wait and see what happens when the heart is left alone. So what is this heart? Is it wisdom or is it just an impulsive thing? Look, the heart is not an emotional drama, which most people think. The heart is direct knowing. It knows. Yeah? It knows what you really desire. It knows what expands you. It knows what will drain you out. It knows what is dead inside and what is alive inside. But what's the danger then? A heart without grounding does not create freedom, it creates chaos. बोलते हैं ना मन मर्जी कर रहा है So, following the heart without the mind will lead to burnt bridges, financial stress, regret, designed as courage. So remember one thing, the heart knows where to go, it does not know how to build the road. Now here is where everything will change. The moment you realize the heart is the navigator, the mind is the vehicle. So will you ask the car, where should I go with my life? No, no. Or will you ask the engine how to build the engine? No, no. So the truth is, a fulfilled life happens when the heart chooses a direction and the mind makes the strategy. The strategy in direction or in service to the direction that you have chosen. Now, most of our suffering comes from mind choosing out of fear. So, if the mind is choosing a direction out of fear and heart being completely ignored for practicality, I don't listen to my heart, I am practical. So, let me show you how to fix it right now. Close your eyes, put one hand on the chest, one on the head. And what do I know is true for me right now, even though it scares my mind, even though my mind is frightened of it? What do I know is true for me at this moment, even if my mind is frightened of it? How can I move forward in this direction safely, intelligently, and sustainably? Notice there is no fight, no conflict. Yeah, just the roles clear and restored. So let's do a little clearing here. Everything that taught me that I must choose between success and joy, logic and intuition, safety and aliveness, will I be willing to let it go? So let me repeat that a little slowly. Everything that taught me that I must choose between success and joy, like people believe either you'll have success or joy, that way. Everything that taught me I must choose between success and joy, logic and intuition, safety and aliveness, would I be willing to let that go? And if so, let it go. Everything that made my mind afraid of my heart and my heart distrust my mind, will you dissolve that now? Yes? So please do it right now. Now, what you're feeling is what alignment normally feels like. So we're going to put a new operating system. You were never meant to win the battle between the mind and the heart. You were meant to end the war. You were meant to allow the mind and the heart to collaborate together, to work together. One would give you the direction, the other one would tell you how to reach there. Okay, one is the navigator, one is the vehicle. They don't have to work at cross purposes. They must work together. So remember one thing, heart chooses the direction, mind designs the path, and the body takes aligned action. Now silently please say to yourself, my heart leads, my mind supports, and my life flows. So when the heart sets the direction and mind builds the bridge, life stops being a struggle and it starts becoming a collaboration, and then you can live a life of ease, joy, and glory. You're neither ignoring your heart nor are you ignoring your mind. You're working in balance, they're working together. I'm sure you guys have seen the tandem bikes, two people riding the same bike. Yeah. So one is the heart, one is the mind. No need for any dissonance, no need for any stress, just ease and joy and a life of peace, because that is what we deserve. And before I end this part of the session, let me say something. Remember always who you are. You're a wonderful, magnificent, extraordinary person who deserves to be loved and respected for who you are. You're a person who allows every experience to make you a better version of yourself. You're not wasting time resisting the experience. You're not wasting time reacting to that experience. You're moving forward with alignment with the flow. So there is no struggle, there's no effort. Results are coming with ease and joy. Isn't that what would make life easy? Isn't it? Instead of always struggling and fretting and fuming and getting upset. So keep this in your mind and keep this in your heart. We are not going to live out of fear. We are not going to make choices out of fear. We are going to make choices and choose direction from possibility and a life full of joy and ease.